This is fun. I kind of like this. Hi, ghouls. It's Foot, and welcome back to the Drag Lair. Step inside if you dare, because this week we're talking about Dragula Titan Season 2, Episode 8. And open your comic books, lovelies, because we have a couple of supervillains to fight. The Drag Lair. Hello, my beautifuls, and welcome back to my Fortress of Solitude. Just to address the elephant in the room, no, I am not in drag today. I was traveling all weekend. The weather is kind of wet and gloomy, and I just could not get into drag today. Today you get Boyfoot, and even though I'm not going to be in drag, I'm still going to give you my amazing, unfiltered Dragula opinion, because I just love you so much. So we're going to get into it, okay? Let's recap what happened last week. It was the Boulet Brothers Horror Picture Show, and the top 6 had to present a musical number and look inspired by the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Eva was our winner, which she won the power to vaporize someone out of the competition for good on the spot, and she ultimately chose Sigourney after she was being threatened in the cauldron. Do I think this was the right choice? I'm gonna say, yeah, I think so. Just based on basically what happened in the cauldron. And if that's what she was going on, then yeah, this is totally fair. She really didn't bring in like track record or how anybody was doing in the competition. It really was her attitude right then and there. And that's honestly a very valid point. You can't fault her for choosing her because she was being, manipulative. And Eva did not like that, and she had the power, and ultimately she went that way. I think this was the right choice because we'll see later in this episode that this episode elimination was crazy, and I think had Sigourney stayed, it wouldn't have been such a nail biter. After that elimination, we're back. It's a new week, and we have our top 5. This is really crazy. I cannot believe we're here. We went from 14 to 5 already. And our top 5 is Abora, Eva, Jaharia, JK, and Cynthia Dahl. Is this the top 5 I imagined? Not necessarily. I definitely imagined Blackberry being here for sure. Sigourney being here for sure as well. And call me crazy, but Priscilla Chambers being here as well. And I'm just basing this off of like when we were going into the season, like what I thought of the cast. Like I for sure thought Priscilla was going to be at least at this point. So this top 5 is lacking Blackberry, Sigourney, and Priscilla in my opinion. But I do love this top 5. This is a crazy cool top 5. We got some Dragula vets with Abora and Eva, and then we got some Dragula new school with Jaharia, JK, and Cynthia. It's really awesome to see them each have this kind of redemption. I think this is the furthest each of them has gone. And it's just awesome to see because they've each individually done so amazing that I love this top 5. I love this season. I'm really going to cherish this season, and I think this might be the best top 5 we've ever seen. Let's talk about this scoreboard going into this semifinals. This is the last real challenge before the finale. So this challenge is super important because this is the last win that is being given out. I think this one is super, super important because it could, one, either tie up the scoreboard or this is going to put someone, dead first. So let's go over some of these numbers here. Abora has 2 wins, 2 bottoms. Eva now has 2 wins, no bottoms. Jaharia with 1 win, 1 bottom. JK with 1 win, no bottoms. And Cynthia, 0 wins, 1 bottom. I'm not counting last week as a bottom. Technically, everyone would have been, but I'm not really counting that as a bottom placement, right? The scoreboard is pretty interesting. We have 2 people with 2 wins, 2 people with 1 win, and then Cynthia with no wins. Now it's getting to the point where we're seeing some people pull ahead, right? It used to be, pretty even across the board. This challenge really could change somebody's trajectory in this competition drastically. We get the challenge issuing, and the ghouls must create a supervillain look. Ooh, baby, we're doing superheroes. I love this challenge. I'm honestly really surprised that this is only the second time we're seeing it, and that it's not a reoccurring challenge. Maybe like Ghost or Icon or Horror Icons Reimagine. Because I think that evil villains and villainesses just really embody the essence of what Dragula is. Comic book villains specifically are what inspire me to do drag, because I just gravitate towards where the villains come from. They have a little bit more depth than the heroes, right? They're usually broken. They are damaged. They're a villain for a reason, right? We hear the term villain origin story, but, some of the best villains have the craziest backstory, and it's about, being hurt, being left alone. And I think as queer people, that is something that we can all relate to. And, I think the backstory of a supervillain really makes them who they are. Usually that comes with the most power, right? The more broken you are, the more power you have. And I think there's such power in that, So here in the Drag Lair, we are pro-villain. There's nothing wrong with being a villain, right? Everyone's a little villainous. So I hope they continue to do the super villain challenge every year, because we'll get to my opinions, but this year was not that good. Let's just get into these looks. So first we have the boulets, and I thought this was so cute. I really did. It's a little simple, but for some reason it's giving me like Eartha Kitt's Catwoman mixed with like how they like to do like traditional like Halloween looks. This gives like 60s supervillain costume on Halloween, which I love this. This came out in this, and I was like, they're really cute in this. There's also something like, I don't know if this was on purpose, but the mask is creating this like cut effect on their eyes to shape out where their cut crease should be. I don't know if that was on purpose, but it like is helping their makeup, which I thought was really cool. And this hair is so cool. This is like a hair that I kind of have, and I want more like this. I just love like a swoop and like this is so cute. Also, you can't go wrong with black leather. I would totally wear this in a heartbeat. Okay, so let's move on to the contestants. The criteria was to create an original supervillain look, and they really emphasized like their super power or like how they kill people. So we're going to use that as our criteria to judge. So first up is Eva Destruction. This is just so cool. The detailing on this is really, really insane. The rib cage piece is amazing. The shoulder pads. She looks like she could be in an amusement park, like a face character. She definitely is giving villain. Super villain, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's like superhero. She's giving villain for sure. It's giving like witch character, which she talked about. I went back and forth a couple times on this. It is giving villain, but it's not giving like she has superpowers. This look is like Then we move on to JK, taking inspiration from the New York City cockroaches that are all over the place. Okay, so we're going to talk about the look. Great. Literally so good. The hair, the colors, the detailing. Like, I love that it's orange. Like, it's the fact that it's orange makes it look brown, if that makes sense. Everything about this is so good. Is it super villain? I'm gonna say no. It didn't give me super villain like at all. This gave like super monster. Like it gave more monster and creature. Like they said, it gave predator, which is true. It does. And it's cool. But like to me, a supervillain is like kind of like a mastermind, like coming up with plans for world domination. This looks more like a creature created by a supervillain or like some type of kaiju. Like this doesn't necessarily give me like they're the head honcho, like they are in charge of everything. But this look is amazing. I don't know how she did this. Moving on to Jaharia. Like again, I don't know what her angle was. Like even when they asked her, they're like, "Oh, who's your character?" And she said, "Me." I was like, "Girl, that was not the challenge." The colors are great. Purpley pink with the neon green. Amazing. It kind of gave me like the 1960s Joker. And like, I feel like if she leaned more into that realm, this could have been good. But the outfit itself gives like WWE wrestler. I don't know what her power is. I don't know who she is fighting. I don't know like the world that she's coming from. Like what is her angle? I don't know. Not my favorite. Totally missed it. We have Cynthia Doll. Again, this wasn't giving like super villain. This was giving creature. Like this literally looks like a Demogorgon. Like this is like the silhouette of a Demogorgon. This does not look like a super villain. Where is like the villain part, right? It gave creature that works for the super villain. This is what I was talking about how I feel like none of them went into this challenge being like, yeah, this is a really important challenge. Let me like really think about this. Like clearly they did not, because what is this? It literally is such a bummer because last week she did such like my favorite look of the night last week. And then it's like a bunch of eyes. Like what is it? It's so frustrating, you know? Then we move on to Bora. I actually really liked this. Where they docked her for points was the originality. And I kind of get that because before she stood up, I went, "Oh, Mr. Sinister," which is not the way that she was going, but the fact that I tagged someone very specific to what she was doing, she was pulling too much inspiration from a specific source. But again, I love it. It literally does look like Mr. Sinister. Like you can't tell me it doesn't. The face, like before she like came up. But I thought this was so cool. I thought like this is what a supervillain looks like. It's evil. It's superpowers. You know who he's fighting. Like you know what this person is, right? Definitely superhero for sure. They're knocking him points for originality, but I don't care that much. I thought it was a good look. And also the gag was so cool. Come on. Like he literally levitated. I watched it like 4 times in a row. It was so cool. So this is a pass for me. This really is. I'm going to give kind of like my final thoughts a little early because it just feels like appropriate to talk about it now. So it's kind of clear that most of them like don't read comic books or like really understand like the comic world. Because when I also hear supervillain and I'm thinking drag, I'm thinking bimbo. Big tits, big hips, tiny waist, revealing outfits that are just like holding your tits together. Very much exactly what Dahlia Black did in season 3 that won her the challenge. Boom, right there. That's exactly what my mind goes to. A lot of the villains are drawn that way, especially the women. And I feel like if they leaned more into a little bit of like the sex appeal, that would have helped the villainy a little bit more. The villainesses are supposed to be seductive. They use their sex appeal as a power. Most of them did creature, and that's not what the challenge was. So after the critiques, we see that Eva is the winner. Not only that, she is securing her 3rd win this season, and she is the first to be announced a finalist of this season. Gag. Do I agree? Yes, I do agree. I think she's the closest to a supervillain. So yeah, I do agree. And it was well executed. She looked really cool. after Eva is announced the winner, we're basically told that if you are not Eva, you are climbing the ghostly gallows, and 2 people will be exterminated tonight. Woo, mama! This is fun. I kind of like this. I think literally last week I said, like, the inconsistent eliminations. I take it back. This is fun. We can stay here. I feel like this is deserved, actually. Honestly, I'm not mad at this at all. I feel like this is deserved for literally everybody involved, because I don't think that anybody besides Eva deserved anything other than up for extermination. I think they all had issues, and they all deserve to be in the bottom. We are in the cauldron, and it sounds like everyone is pleading their case directly to Eva again. Like, I know they did this last week because Eva had the power, but she doesn't here. So I'm not sure why. One, they're arranged in the same way as last week, and they're all speaking directly to her as if she's going to choose. Like, normally they talk out loud to plead their case, and this is basically like them talking to production and the Boulets, and it's, you know, that's their way of letting them know. This is almost like, Eva, this is why I should stay. That didn't make any sense to me. Am I making this up? Did anyone else clock that? But it felt like it was a very pointed deliberation to Eva, as if Eva was going to say, you're safe. You know, I thought last week was a tough elimination. How is Eva going to choose someone? This one is even harder, I think, because not only do they each have potential and reasons to win, this week they also all have reasons to be eliminated. You know, I don't think they were all perfect. I don't think anyone gets a pass this week. Like, Abora, her character wasn't original, and it was a sloppy execution, but she has the second most wins. JK had pieces falling off, but has probably the biggest growth and improvement since their original season. Cynthia didn't scream supervillain, and we didn't know what the power was, and the concept didn't really come through, but she is the fan favorite, and she has been consistently good. Jaharia did the worst of the night, but has been delivering each week, and at a level that is, you know, on par with some of these top girls, and she has had basically no time since her original season. So they all have points against them, and they have points for them, right? We're back on the main stage, and all of the ghouls climb the ghostly gallows in pairs. These pairs are very, very interesting, because I think if they weren't exactly like this, the outcome would not have been the same. But first up, it's Cynthia and JK, and so sad, but Cynthia fell. Do I think this is fair? Yes. Compared to JK, yes, this was very fair. One, Jay did better than Cynthia this week. Two, Jay has been doing better than Cynthia the entire competition. It's sad to see her go because I love her so much, and the super fan in me wants to see her in the finale. But her standing next to JK, she was the weaker one. And again, this is exactly what I was saying. These pairs are very interesting because if they weren't exactly like this, they would not have ended this way. Second was Jaharia and Abora, and Jaharia fell. Did I think this was fair? Yes, I do. Again, compared to Abora, you know, maybe Abora's look was just a tiny bit better, not by much. And two, Abora has been doing better than Jaharia the whole season. Now, it makes me wonder, you know, Cynthia was next to Jaharia. Cynthia probably would have made it. They wanted Abora to go to top 3. And so no matter who goes up against Abora, Abora wins. Abora versus Cynthia, Abora wins. Abora versus JK, Abora wins. Abora versus Jaharia, Abora wins. It's that second one that is tricky, though. So it really was who they wanted to see in the top 3. And I think they did want to see JK move on. So we have our top 3 of the season. It is Eva, Abora, and JK. I'm like so happy about this. I don't know why. Because this is not the top 3 that I imagined, but I think this is the top 3 I didn't know I needed. I definitely thought that Abora and Eva were going to be there, and I did not think JK was going to be there. Definitely I thought Sigourney was going to be there, and she might. Let's not count our chickens before they hatch. It just makes me happy that JK is there, because just knowing who he was in season 5 and how hard he's worked this entire season, he hasn't fumbled the ball basically ever. He's just been getting better and better every time. And this just feels like his time to shine. Just like, kind of like Abora, where this year feels like her year as well. She came back with a better attitude, more evolved looks, I think. People kept saying that she's turning out the same thing, and I don't think that's true at all. But this just feels like their time to be propped up. So we get into the Hellbound Showdown. And we're about to see that the Hellbound Showdown is about to get really, really important now that we've made it to the end. And we see Sigourney and Blackberry doing their superhero looks. And can I just say, before they even said go, Sigourney won. There is no arguing about this. Sigourney won. Her look was just way better. This is exactly what I was saying that the other looks lacked. It needed that tits and hips and body and sensuality. Like, basically the superhero girls are drag queens. I don't know why that, like, where the memo was missed. And it was so funny when I was watching, like, the first watch through. I was like, Sigourney would have killed this. And here we are, you know? Sigourney would have gotten it, and she did. She looked like the super villain from the Power Rangers. I don't know her name. And then Blackberry's I didn't get. I don't know who she was trying to be. She looked like she was coming out of like an animated cartoon, like an anime specifically. I did not get super villain at all. Like the little girl thing, I was not getting. The black and white, I was just like confused. I was like, I don't know. And the winner is Sigourney. Yeah, I totally agree with this. You know, as much as I love to rip on Sigourney, I will give her her flowers when her flowers are due, and her flowers were due. Her win was valid as fuck here. So next week we'll see Sigourney, Cynthia, and Jaharia all face off in the final Hellbound Showdown at this season's Last Supper. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of predictions here. I ultimately think it's going to be between Cynthia and Sigourney. I want Cynthia to win. I want Cynthia in the top 4. But I have a feeling it's going to be Sigourney, depending on how they do it, because they're not going to run a challenge next week, so this could literally be anything. And then can I also just say how happy I am to see that The Last Supper is back. We didn't get one last season. We didn't get one in Titans 1. And I'm so glad that they are smart enough to know that this is the cast to do a Last Supper with, because it's been nothing but drama, and there's a lot of shit that needs to be addressed and answered, because I know I still have some questions about stuff, and I know that this cast is not going to let any stone unturned. Any leaf unturned? Stone unturned. They're not going to leave anything unturned. So that being said, knowing that The Last Supper is next week, I will not be doing a Drag Lair next week, only because there's not going to be much to review. We're not running a challenge. We're not talking about looks. We're just going to be talking about drama, and really the only thing to cover is the Hellbound Showdown, which I'm going to tack on at the beginning of the finale episode. The next time we will see each other will be the Dragula finale. That is crazy that the next time I'm going to make a Drag Lair video, we will have a crowned Titan. It is crazy to think that we are at the end of the season. The season's done. It's done. You're done. You're done. But I want to hear from you. Who were your favorites this week? Who were your least favorites this week? Were the right 2 sent home? Who do you think is going to win the Hellbound Showdown and join the top 3 in the finale? And lastly, who do you think is going to win Titans 2? This is crazy that this question is actually like now we're actually going to be talking about who the winner is going to be. Well, that's it for this episode. Don't forget to drop a like and comment on this video. Don't forget to turn on your Drag Lair notifications to get notified when I drop a video. And you can also follow me on Instagram and TikTok at callme.foot to keep up with what I'm doing. And I will see you in 2 weeks for the Dragula Titans Season 2 season finale. And as always, stay fierce, stay freaky. I will see you in the lair.